MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell has been unsuccessfully trying to launch a social media site that would rival YouTube and Twitter. Now, the only problem well, is that his website sucks because he has no idea what he's doing. Now, according to experts that call themselves grandmasters around the content management software Drupal, I believe is what it's called. I don't know how to. I'm not a content. I'm not a code monkey. But these people are, and they took a look at Lindell's site, and they came up with the conclusion that this was doomed from the start because of incompetence. His developers apparently failed to take what they considered to be elementary coding steps to, one, limit attacks from outside forces. Which, by the way, this is not a unique problem quite online. There's always people that just want to mess with other people's websites. If there's an exploit, they're going to find it. They're going to hash it. They're going to hack it. They're going to crash it. They're going to do all that stuff. And they're going to do it for the lulz. They're going to do it for fun. That's what some people online do. Okay? That sucks. And that's what's been happening, by the way. Since its supposed VIP launch last Thursday, Lindell's platform has experienced numerous crashes, 500, error codes, all that stuff. It just generally hasn't worked. Now, Drupal's site, in which they use, by the way, they're using this software platform. Now, they explained that the software is used to make many websites and applications that you use every day. Has great standard features like easy content authoring, reliable performance, excellent security, but is also open source. Now, open source, it's good. It means that you can take this open source software and you can configure it to what you want to do with it and modify it as you please it at no cost, right? Now, in order to do that, you're going to have to know what you're doing. Okay? And unfortunately, they do not know what they're doing. Speaking to Salon on Thursday afternoon about Lindell's site, one certified grandmaster, Acquia, I believe, who oversees a technology firm that employs numerous other grandmasters, so they know what they're doing when it comes to code, said that Lindell's site was set up for failure from inception, saying that its developers, whom Lindell compared to Navy SEALs, had failed to carry out basic 101 tasks for this website, for this software. One coder spoke to Salon in great detail, explained the potential shortcomings of the program code and the patchy work done by his development team. The expert said Drupal can power sites with lots of traffic. However, there's a limitation. It's that it wasn't really designed to be a social media site. They explained that because the architecture was not designed to handle a large amount of user-generated content, which again is, if you have a social media site, a lot of it, that activity is going to be driven by the users themselves and not the curators of the website. Lindell's website, they say, was basically trying to make soup from scratch for everybody, said the expert, who claimed more than 25 years of experience in the IT field. In my professional opinion, it would be extremely unlikely, if not impossible, for Lindell to accomplish his vision with this open source software and his own servers, the expert told Salon. Now, the reason, of course, that Lindell went with his own servers is because he didn't want anyone to be able to shut him down, right? So didn't go with Amazon servers, which a lot of websites actually do use. They decided to go with their own, which of course is pretty costly, honestly. But I guess in order to offset the cost, he went with free open source software, which isn't a bad idea. It's just a bad idea if it's not going to do what you want it to do. Now, despite how much I love it, according to the expert, it simply isn't the right tool for the number of users with the features that he wants to provide. It would take a massive effort of 12 to 18 months to build out the needed hosting setup and application architecture, and this would come with an enormous degree of risk. The idea that he could do this in just a couple of months is patently absurd, and I think the results speak for themselves. True. Again, look who we're dealing with. Creating a social media website is not the same as making crappy pillows. All right? And not only that, but again, he cheaped out and used open source software. Now, I use open source software. I'm using OBS Studio right now. It's fantastic. It works for streaming. It's fantastic for streaming. Again, it's what I use. It's what a lot of people who are, running these programs, what they use. Because it was made to do that. You use it because it works. This is not that situation, which makes me think that Lindell was highly involved in the development and strikes me as somebody who is, look, this guy is not internet or technology savvy. Okay, he does not know what he's doing. And I think his lack of knowledge led to some poor hiring decisions, probably maybe a little nepotism in there. I can't prove that. But whoever he hired is doing a real piss poor job. And, they're not sending their best, okay? That's it. They're not sending their best. In fact, here's what another expert said. When I was looking at the code in the browser, they basically launched the site while in development mode, one expert told Salon, citing the fact that developers have failed to check a box to aggregate files on the platform as the first red flag. Their files were not aggregated. And by the way, that's a checkbox. In the program, you literally check the box and you hit save. My jaw dropped when I saw that. I was like, they did not try to launch this thing without aggregation turned on. Oh, but they did. I don't need your fancy degrees and your facts. I want to build this website with hookers and blackjack. Except none of those things, because Mike Lindell is a good God-fearing Christian man. Yes. The second major red flag they found is that the website was generating coded errors and sending them to users, not administrators, but a user would get these coded errors, which of course ends up leaving the platform open to attacks because you know where the vulnerabilities and exploits are. Other grandmasters poke fun at the developers' mistakes, which were described as, quote, extremely obvious and even juvenile in nature. And one expert concluded that based on the evidence, Lindell's development team was inexperienced, lacking basic knowledge, and also called it, quote, not even student-level work. Ooh. Oh, the expert finally said this, quote, this is a shit show, saying that this obvious issue is that coders, that a lot of these issues are incredibly obvious and that they learn to prevent them in Drupal 101. So, yeah, this makes me think conspiracy. Either Lindell is dumb and incompetent, as well as his team, or they set this up to fail so they can blame the left. That's where the conspiracy comes in, okay? Oh yeah, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to launch Frank's speech. I'm going to raise a lot of money from people. I'm going to sign a bunch of people up. And then what I'm going to do is set this thing up to fail by making it as cheaply as possible. And then, once it fails, I can blame the left and raise a bunch of money. Or maybe it's just a mixture. Maybe the fact that they're incompetent and tried to make something on the cheap that they thought might work and failed to do so, they will then, after they fail, blame the left anyway. So it's a win-win either way. Remember, Lindell, not a very smart person, they're not sending their best, thought a prank caller was hacking into his phone by just calling him during a disastrous telethon. He does not know what he's doing. Okay. No idea what he's doing. Excuse me. Combine that with his victimhood mentality and a penchant for believing in nonsense conspiracy theories and then peddling them and making movies about them, you can see that this venture, like a lot of the ones from his hero, Donald Trump, fail. Sad baby. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.